Hello everyone, this is G and I'm back with a new video. No camera today, I'm not really up to it. Quite frankly, life has been kicking my ass recently. But I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope that whatever, because we've all got our struggles, right? I hope that your struggles, that you're getting through them, because like life is just really trying to just break a sister down right now. But anyway, I wanted to cover this briefly, especially now that I actually have a little bit of time. I've been very busy past week or 2 weeks, so I haven't had a lot of time to record. But what I wanted to highlight here is what I would call the hypocrisy of Comic Drake here, right? So he tweets this, right? I covered this a few weeks ago when Marvel, made the Punisher the head of the hand and they changed the logo, right? Right. Instead of a skull, instead of the traditional skull that you associate with the Punisher, they now went with this more, Oni, right? Type of thing, right? Type of thing that you would probably see on like a ninja mask, right, or a samurai's mask or helmet, right? Now, this image obviously evokes the image, in particular, the archetypes of the warrior culture of a particular nation, that being Japan, right? These two dudes in red are obviously dressed as ninja, and even the Punisher, right? You have the Oni skull, I would call it, right? You have one fist taped, the other you have the other one in armor. He's wearing two katana, right? And you even have the armor on his, what is that? His right shoulder or his left shoulder? I'm way off today, right? But the shoulder in the foreground, right? You see it has armor on it, which is reminiscent of the shoulder armor that samurai would wear, right? Even the way his face is drawn, right? In particular, the eyes. This image is definitely meant to make him come across as Japanese, right? Or as a character associated with Japanese culture, in particular Japanese warrior culture, invoking images of both the ninja and references to the samurai, right, in various ways. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let's look at Comic Drake's tweet here. He says here, with the Punisher logo being co opted by conservatives who don't understand that he literally stands for the failures of the current justice system, I took the logo off my set. Well, I'm not quite sure if the Punisher is meant to address the current legal system, given that the character's been around for decades. But anyway, I took the logo off my set. However, I'm excited to use the new one as Marvel has distanced themselves from the old symbol. Right? So, this is the way I take it. This is the way I interpret it. This may not be the way Drake himself sees it, but this is the way I see it. In particular, somebody who has read a lot about various warrior cultures, including Japanese warrior culture, and about the ninja, and about the samurai, and the code of Bushido, and all that other stuff. Right? When I read this and when I see this, what I see, what my brain perceives this as or processes this as is Comic Drake is perfectly fine with the open cultural appropriation, right? He has no problem taking a white American Marine and trying to reimagine him as pseudo or quasi Japanese when that doesn't really fit the character traditionally because, well, it's better to appropriate Japanese warrior culture, apparently, in Drake's mind, instead of allow the Punisher symbol to be associated with conservatives. I don't know how many people realistically associate the Punisher skull with conservatives per se. Maybe they associate it more with the police, right? The general issue seems to be that the cops like the symbol or they've appropriated the symbol. But here's the thing: if you want to claim that this is, how do I put it? His claim is that the logo is being co-opted by conservatives. He literally says it here. Well, here's the thing then. If you're going to argue that the logo is being co-opted by conservatives, then you might as well also argue for these red ninja in the background next to this very red helicopter need a new color because red tends to be a color that is associated in American politics with the right, right, with conservatives, right. That tends to be their color. That I mean, that would also mean that you, Drake, would have to change your avatar here, right? With the ninja mask, right? Because you wouldn't want to be associated with those evil conservatives because the mask is red, right? It used to be that you wouldn't wear red, especially if you came from LA, because you didn't want people to assume you were part of the Bloods, right? Right? The Crips and the Bloods and all that. Like the Bloods wore red, and I think the Crips wore blue or purple or something. Maybe purple was the Latin Kings. I forget. But right, it used to be that you would avoid these colors because they were associated with certain gangs. And perhaps political parties can be considered gangs in their own way. But I do find it interesting that he's concerned about the logo, yet he doesn't seem to mind the color red being associated with conservatives. He's not calling for his own image, right, his own avatar, or for the ninjas in the background, or for whatever this jeep or whatever vehicle this is in the background to not be red, since red tends to be the color that is co-opted or associated with conservatives in American politics, right? Why aren't they blue, right? Blue is the color of the liberals. It's the color of the Democratic Party, right? Vote blue no matter who is the phrase in many liberal states and cities, especially New York City in particular, right? So if you feel that it's being co-opted, why not just make them blue, right? Why not just make these ninja blue? Why not just make this image in the back blue, right? Why not just make this image your avatar blue as well? Or are you worried that maybe NetherRealm Studios might sue you, right? Because red could also be associated with Ermac from those games, and then if you turn it blue, ooh, you might be associated with Sub Zero, and then they might sue you, right? You can go this 1,000 ways, right? The whole thing about something being co-opted is such a nebulous argument, right? Especially when you are inconsistent about it, like how Drake is, in my personal opinion, whatever that is worth. But I do find it funny that, in my opinion, he has no problem with a white Marine, white American Marine, more or less culturally appropriating elements of Japanese warrior culture, in particular, well known, iconic, right, worldwide elements of Japanese warrior culture, right? Just so that it won't be associated with the conservatives. So let's steal from another culture, in particular, the country that, the U.S. bombed, nuked two cities of back in World War II, right? Let's put our, American vigilante anti-hero, right? Let's associate him with these people that the American government victimized both in their own home country and in the U.S. with the internment camps, right, in the 40s, right? Let's take an American military character and put him amongst them, just so this image won't be co-opted by the conservatives, right? And I want to be clear. I have no problem with like a white person being associated with Japan when that makes sense, right? Marvel has their fair share of characters who are white, who have a strong connection, and a strong connection to, I should say, an association with Japanese culture, right? You have characters, for example, like what's his face, Iron Fist, right? Danny Rand, who apparently can no longer be Iron Fist because he's white, right? So Marvel has no problem making an Asian person, right, Iron Fist, because they have no problem playing into the Asians know martial arts stereotype, when Danny Rand was originally Iron Fist back in the 70s to actually sort of be a subversion of that assumption at the time, right? But Danny Rand can no longer be, or the general feeling or assumption is that this change, him giving up being Iron Fist and now Iron Fist being an Asian person, is because Marvel doesn't want a white man associated with something like uh, Asian culture or Asian martial arts. Keep in mind, martial arts, especially with the success of the UFC, are worldwide these days. And while many of the martial arts styles practiced in MMA do originate in various Asian countries, Japan, uh, Thai kickboxing, right, comes from Thailand and whatnot, but it's no longer just practiced within those countries. It has become worldwide. But again, Danny Rand, a skinny, blonde haired white boy, which again could also be associated with the evil conservatives, because conservatives, at least those in the media, tend to have long blonde hair. But a skinny white boy like Danny Rand can't be the Iron Fist anymore because it's culturally insensitive. But he has no problem with the large, dark-haired American Marine, somebody that in World War II the U.S. would have sent over to fight in the Pacific Theater. He has no problem with him being used and put in this very awkward situation, right? Associating him with elements of Japanese culture. Now, again, as I was saying, because I know I kind of went off on a tangent talking about Iron Fist, right? You have characters like Danny Rand is Iron Fist, or in particular Wolverine of the X-Men, who has a long love and long history with Japan and its women, right? Logan has many a Japanese girlfriend and at least one Japanese wife who is sadly departed. R.I.P. Mariko. But anyway, I honestly have two now because I think a woman named Itsu was his wife, and that woman was the mother of his son Daken. But anyway, it's well known that Wolverine has a long history with Japan and in Japan. So when you see a character like him in a situation like this, like if you had Wolverine here, there would be no problem with this image. But Frank Castle is not Wolverine. Frank Castle, to my knowledge at least, and to be fair, I have a very sparse working knowledge of the Punisher, but I can't think of any character or any story that really emphasizes him having a connection with Japan. Hell, Daredevil has more of a connection to Japan than Punisher does. But yes, let's take the big hulking American Marine, right? Let's take the violent vigilante, and let's culturally have him culturally appropriate, right? Japanese culture, also that we can avoid uh, the Punisher logo being co-opted by conservatives, because that's worse. An American political party co-opting a skull, bad. An American comic company using an American soldier and having him culturally appropriate uh, a country that the U.S. has in its past been less than friendly with, good, right? And again, it's not that you can never have a white person in Japanese warrior culture, right? You have like what is it, Snake Eyes, right, from GI Joe. But again, his background and his story justified why he was sort of the stranger in a strange land, right? And even that, in the earlier stories Larry Hama wrote, right, it explained that he wasn't exactly well received or accepted in the ninja clan he was in because it's Japan. They're not exactly open to foreigners, right? Gaijin, you're a foreigner. You're never quite fit in. But yeah, but still, again, right? Giant white dude is now in Japan taking over a Japanese, whatever the hand are supposed to be, right? But this is obviously references to Japanese warrior culture, so this is okay, according to him, right? Just so long as the Punisher logo isn't being co-opted by conservatives, we can have the character co-opt the entire country's or part, I should say, part of a country's warrior culture, and a large part of their cultural identity, even to this day, right? That's perfectly fine, right? The very cultural appropriation that people like him and others would cry about, right? The white man stole this, the white man stole that, the white man stole rock and roll from black people, right? Cry all day about that, but right? As he says himself, he's excited to use the new symbol, this obviously very Japanese symbol, right, over the old symbol, just because conservatives. This is literally his defense. This is okay, right? Trying to make him a quasi Japanese man is okay. Culturally appropriating Japan is perfectly okay. Just so long as the Punisher logo isn't being co opted by those evil, nasty conservatives. Well, sir, if you're that concerned about being unintentionally associated with the American Re- Republican Party, right? The GOP, the grand old party, maybe change your own mask, maybe change your own image, because red is a color associated with them. And well, you wouldn't want that, now would you? But anyway, that's the video. Please let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day or night wherever you are. See you around. Bye.